Kart 8!
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This is one of the best games Nintendo's ever put out. Although it's not my favorite Mario Kart game, this is easily one of my favorites, and for a number of reasons. The item balance is excellent, the character roster is unique, and the tracks are some of the best the series has to offer. That's why I thought it would be fun to rank my top 10 favorite Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tracks. Retro tracks will not be included since they aren't new, but the DLC tracks from Mario Kart 8 will. This ranking will be based on how fun the tracks are, how well the pacing is, and any other additional features that help the tracks stand out. With all that out of the way, let's go! Number 10. Excitebike Arena. Remember that old NES game Excitebike? Just picture that, but in 3D. This track manages to nearly replicate the feeling of the original game. There's tons of ramps to trick off of, as well as some dash panels and mud. What makes this track really interesting is that it changes every time you play it. The ramps and other obstacles are all randomly spread out, making this course feel new every time you play it. And you've gotta love the 8-bit statue of the Excitebike racer. My only issue with this track is that it's a little on the simple side. Maybe they could have added some extra obstacles on the road to make it more harder, but as it stands, this track is simply exciting. Number 9. Toad Harbor. This is usually one of the first tracks that I think about when I think about Mario Kart 8. You start by driving through a market, then you'll drive through the heart of the town before heading down a large hill with tons of dash panels. This track is all about shortcuts as there's tons of them. The game even lets you drive on the wall for part of the track. The track bears a striking resemblance to San Francisco, which can be seen with the trolley cars in Ocean. I love how detailed the course is, complete with a statue of Peach modeled after the Statue of Liberty. The music here is also really good. It has a calm and inviting feeling that isn't usually felt in Mario Kart. This track may be awesome, but it doesn't even compare to what's next. Number 8. Thwomp Ruins. Surprisingly, this is the first dedicated Ruins track in Mario Kart history. There was Dry Ruins in Mario Kart Wii, but that doesn't really count. This track is themed around Thwomps who appear frequently throughout the level. You'll start by driving into a cave where boulders are rolling, and you can drive on the walls. Then the track opens up with multiple different pathways. You can drive to the left or the right, go through the water, or wait for the boulder to open the gliding section. You'll then enter anti-gravity dodging Thwomps on a twisted road. The track finishes with a huge gliding section back to the finish line. This is one of those tracks that feels very open. The amount of options you are given as to where you can go is just insane. I'll also point out that the music is really good and the theming around Thwomps is excellent. It really makes you think, just where do the Thwomps come from? Are they man-made? Are they born from other Thwomps? Are they just rocks? I need to know! Number 7. Bowser's Castle. Mario Kart 8's Bowser Castle may not have been my favorite Bowser's Castle track, but I still really enjoy this one. I mean, it's going to be a good level when the gate has to open during the countdown. The main gimmick of this course is a giant, fiery Bowser who punches the road. You have to be careful which path you pick or else you might get crushed. Aside from that, there are lasers, fire bars, and a really cool gliding section. I also really like the rock music because it fits in really well with the stage. Honestly, I'm not quite sure why I favor the other Bowser Castle's tracks over this one. Maybe it's nostalgia, but who knows. Regardless, this is still a really creative track and deserves to be praised. Number 6. Electrodrome. Just imagine the best party you've ever been to, but replace everyone with Mario characters. That's basically all this track is, and it works really well. For about half the track, the road is split up into 2 paths. Each path is relatively the same, but they're different enough to warrant going both ways. There's also this one part of the track that makes noises as you drive across it. The music is also an absolute banger, plus the visuals are really solid too, but by far the best part of this track is the dancing Mario characters on the giant screen. This is the kind of thing that we as Mario fans don't get to see too often. I never would have thought a theme like this would work in a Mario Kart track, but surprisingly, it's one of the best. Number 5. Cloudtop Cruise. This track takes a lot of inspiration from older Mario Kart tracks, mainly Sky Garden and Airship Fortress. The main theme of this one is driving on clouds. There's also a section where you drive across an airship, and are then shot out of a cannon which takes you inside of a giant storm cloud. This part is really cool, there's tons of dash panels, but you have to be careful because lightning can strike at any moment. The track ends with a gliding section, followed by a tricky shortcut. I like how the final part of this track is made of a vine coming out of a question mark block. Something about that is really interesting. Speaking of interesting, it's in certain parts of the course, you can hear Gusty Garden Galaxy playing in the background. That's pretty neat considering the two locations look very similar. There's not too much to complain about here, seeing as this is one of the most creative tracks in Mario Kart history. Number 4, Super Bell Subway. I never would have thought that a subway would be a good place to hold a go-karting race, but boy am I glad I was wrong. As the name implies, you spend most of the time underground dodging trains and taking shortcuts. The subway cars can obviously hurt you, but if you can manage to get on top of one, you can drive on it without harm. There's a lot of alternate ways you can traverse the tunnel, including one that features a glide ramp. It's also pretty genius that before the racers head down the stairs, they have to pass through a toll. That's just so stupid and hilarious, like seriously, who came up with that? They need an award. Nintendo, give them an award. If you look around the station, you can see that the trains are headed to other locations in the game, like Yoshi Valley and Music Park. There's also references to Super Mario Bros. In the form of graffiti throughout the level. This track manages to make things hectic, but it manages to stand out in a way that most tracks don't. Number 3, Mute City. If that name sounds familiar, that's because it comes from F-Zero, one of Nintendo's other racing series. Instead of being based on one of the Mute City tracks in one of those games, Mario Kart 8's version is entirely original, and it does a great job feeling like it came right out of an F-Zero game. There's dash panels everywhere throughout the level to make your kart go insanely fast. The track twists in all directions, making for an incredible experience. The gravity is also different on this track. You tend to fall slower, allowing for more distance to be made in the air. I know it's a strange thing to praise, but it spices up the gameplay in a good way. There's also this really cool shortcut towards the end where you have to hop across several platforms, and oh, it's just so good! One of my favorite parts of this level is that you can see different F-Zero characters in the signs in the background. After all, it wouldn't be an F-Zero level without Captain Falcon saying, "Show me your moves!" This is honestly one of the few tracks in the game that feels like it was meant for 200cc, unlike most of the tracks. And the remix of Mute City is an absolute bop. I love the inclusion of the jazz instruments in this piece. It sounds so good. As a big F-Zero fan, it feels so good to finally see this series get some representation, because one of Nintendo's biggest hobbies in the last 2 decades is doing everything F-Zero related without making a new game. Thanks, Nintendo. Number 2, Mount Wario. No, that's not a command. Mount Wario isn't just a regular racetrack, it's an adventure. This track is unique in that all 3 laps are separate from each other, allowing for more creative level design. You'll start by jumping out of a helicopter onto the snowy mountaintop. As you begin descending the mountain, the road becomes very slippery, but there's also plenty of ramps to trick off of. The first lap is arguably short, but the second lap is where the real fun begins. You start by going into a cave where you can either glide or drive through a raging river. Next, you'll navigate through some building, then you enter anti-gravity and drive across Wario Dam. Wario Dam! The next thing you know, you're driving through a forest with tons of trees and a few nifty shortcuts. By this point, you're on the final lap and it takes inspiration from skiing. You'll check off ramps, pass through targets, and even jump off a large ski hill at the very end. The very end of the track is so exciting because it feels like such a mad rush to the finish. This level's everything I want out of a Mario Kart track. I'm honestly surprised there weren't more tracks like it in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. There's not much I would change about this track, but not even Mount Wario can compete with... Number 1, Big Blue. Are you really that surprised? This track isn't just an adventure like Mount Wario. This track is an experience. This level also takes inspiration from F-Zero, so you know it's going to be amazing. You start by spiraling down this road covered with dash panels before hopping onto another road with a bunch of conveyor belts moving forward and backwards. Next, you'll glide to the second lap where you'll find yourself racing down a moving river. The track then splits up and becomes more crazy. Before you know it, the 2 paths merge to create one giant river that makes you go insanely fast. Then you'll head for another gliding section to get to the 3rd lap, and oh boy, is it a good one. The race becomes faster, the road becomes twistier, an announcer shouts that it's the final lap, all while listening to one of the best renditions of Big Blue. By this point, the road is so twisted you don't even know which way is up. The road then splits up again, this time for longer. You're going so fast that you don't even pay attention to the track anymore. Everything becomes a blur. Before you know it, you're in the final stretch, headed for the finish line. And believe me, I know I did a horrible job of describing this track just because of how insane it is. There's so much going on that it's honestly hard to remember all of it, but this is easily my favorite Mario Kart 8 Deluxe track by a long shot, and I highly recommend it to everyone. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. This was my first YouTube video and I know that was a little rough. I know, audio trouble. I guess that's what happens when you don't have a real microphone and whatever. I guess I also gotta get a capture card. In case you couldn't tell, most of this footage was taken using the Nintendo Switch capture feature, and then I just uploaded it to my computer, but yeah, I want to get more stuff in the future to make better videos. If you want, leave a comment down below and tell me what your favorite Mario Kart 8 Deluxe track is. I might even get back to you. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe so that more people are able to find this video, because the more people that do that, the algorithm will pick it up, and I know this video is probably going to get like 10 views, but if you do watch this video, thank you to all of you, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.